Well, welcome everyone. What I would just want to get my initial slides up, so to speak. Um, Welcome, and my name is Michael Jones, and I'm based here in the UK. And so you've got me on and off the next couple of hours. Got a number of guests that are invited to come along and talk and to share. I want this to be as upbeat and as uplifting as possible. So let's get this show on the road, as they say. So we are our focus, if you like, is to look at or have theme of UN SDG 7, affordable and clean energy, and UN SDG 13, climate action. And so by and large, through our session, we'll cover that in all sorts of ways. But let's have a little look at what that actually means um, for us. So, what are the UN SDGs? Well, they're the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and sort of developed in 2015, adopted in 2015 by the member states, and they are 17 goals, if you like, 17 challenges that have been put out there to tackle issues ranging from poverty, equality, environment, and so on. Now, they're not siloed. Because there are 17 of them doesn't mean that, we would sort of work through, let's get SDG 1 done, then 2, then 3. It doesn't work like that. Life never does, of course. It's more complicated. And so the SDGs are very much interconnected, and they're inclusive. They are to include everyone, whether you're in the global north or the global south. It doesn't matter. And the major point, if you like, is that no one gets left behind because of their location, geographical, their status, their economy, their education. The idea is that we bring everyone up, everyone goes on this journey. And of course, because today, the 6th of June, is the Youth Climate Summit Day, um, the youth are the key stakeholders. Of course they are. They are literally inheriting this planet we're in, for good or bad. So youth, young people, and young people doesn't mean sort of 20 years old and above. It means young people, yeah, down there in year one in English schools, stage one. They're central to achieving these goals. Due to their numbers, they are the population coming through. They have the innovation capacity. The technology that they can harness to do this is unbelievable, of course. And they very much do have a stake in the future. So why though? Let's drill down just a little into SDG 7 for youth. So empowering young generations through clean energy. It's 3 points I'm making there on the screen. One, there's career opportunities in renewables, renewable energy. The clean energy transition will create over 30 million new jobs by 2030. If you take 30 million, that's roughly half the population of the UK now. That's a lot of people. Yeah, that's a lot of jobs, and they're not just manual jobs. Nothing wrong with manual jobs, of course, but then they're very much leading with tech. Yeah, so get those qualifications in there, and it's about energy equity and social justice. Yeah, equity, being able to share this, being able to have an equal stake in what's going on, and being aware that we have a humanity that we are shared in. Yeah, so whether you're in an underserved region or not, it shouldn't make any difference. Yeah, energy access to clean, renewable, relatively inexpensive energy will help to push educational and economic access through for all. And of course, there's climate leadership and innovation. Yeah, young people are there to start the energy startups. Do that, people, please. So 13, SDG 13. Um, I shouldn't really have to say this, shouldn't I? It's a disproportionate future impact. Young people will experience the most from what we have done to the planet. Of course they will. You are inheriting something that you were not part of, but you are inheriting it. Yeah. And that's, climate, food, water insecurity. Okay, so advocate, youth-led climate movement, advocate, mobilize yourself, push for climate action. Don't be ashamed, don't be worried about putting yourself forward and standing up for climate action. And it's about resilience, it's about change, it's about bringing new ideas, be a youth-led startup, be an NGO, a non-governmental organization, pioneer those solutions that we could have. And so before we move on to the next bit, where are we? You're at the heart of global change. Of course you are. Youth are. I don't want to sound patronizing there. I certainly hope I don't. You're agents of change. There is intergenerational responsibility. You inherit it. Yeah, the old people such as me. Yeah, we are responsible. So we are obligated to assist. And there's a call to action. Engage with local initiatives. Find out what is happening in my local area. Okay, so that's my rallying call, if you like. I'm going to just stop sharing that for a moment because I'm going to introduce a young man that I will put my hand on my heart. I am so proud of James, who is a climate pioneer. Yeah, he's got a short video that he's recording. And then we're going to have a Q&A session where James and I will have a little chat. So if you could, we're going to listen to James and his ideas.
Hello everyone, my name is James. Thank you for joining me at the Right Here, Right Now Climate Summit. I am someone who does not mind getting my hands dirty, working with rewilding projects, supporting our incredible pollinators and seeing nature thrive. But today we're tackling a big one, climate change. I want to show you how and what you can do which directly connects to this pressing global issue. Let's get into it. Climate change and sustainability isn't just a job or a hobby. It's about seeing the incredible power of nature to heal and thrive. But what I've learned working with rewilding and pollinators is that these vital ecosystems are under a massive threat, climate change. We often hear about it in the news, but it can feel distant. I want to bridge that gap and show you how it impacts everything, from the smallest bee to the largest forest, and why your actions matter. Climate change is much more than just a few hot days. It's a fundamental shift in our planet's climate system, and it's happening at an alarming rate. So what is climate change? At its core, it's a long-term shift in global temperatures and weather patterns. The Earth is warming, and the evidence is overwhelming. The primary driver is the greenhouse effect. Certain gases in our atmosphere, carbon dioxide, methane, and others, trap heat from the sun. This is a natural process, but human activities have dramatically increased these gases. This unnatural aspect is called the enhanced greenhouse effect. Where do these excess gases come from? The burning of fossil fuels, coal, oil, and natural gas for energy, transportation, and industry is the biggest culprit. Urbanization is also a key contributing factor, where ever-expanding urban sprawl eats away at nature. One example of this eating away at nature is deforestation, as jungles and forests are host to a plethora of plant species, each of which utilize photosynthesis. The impacts of climate change are already being felt around the world. These aren't just future threats, they're happening now. We're expecting more frequent and intense heat waves impacting human health, agriculture, and ecosystems. This can lead to heat stroke, crop failure, increased wildfire risks. Climate change is fueling more severe storms, increased droughts in some regions, and heavier rainfall, leading to devastating floods in others. This disrupts lives, damaging infrastructure, and displaces communities. We, in the United Kingdom, are currently experiencing the driest spring in over a century. As glaciers and ice sheets melt, and the ocean warms, expands, sea levels are rising, threatening coastal communities and ecosystems. This can lead to displacement, saltwater intrusion into freshwater sources, and loss of vital habitats. The ocean absorbs a lot of excess carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, but this is making it more acidic, harming marine life, especially coral reefs, which are a vital ecosystem. This is where our actions get even more crucial. Changing climates stress plants and animals, leading to habitat loss and accelerating species extinction. Thinking about think about pollinators. They rely on specific timings of flowers, which are now being disturbed, impacting food production and ecosystem health. All of these changes impact our ability to grow food and access clean water, affecting billions of people globally. Droughts, floods, changing weather patterns disrupt agriculture and water supplies. By restoring natural ecosystems, we can create vital carbon sinks. Forests, peatlands, wetlands absorb massive amounts of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, helping to mitigate climate change. Rewilding also builds resilience, making ecosystems better able to cope with the impacts of a changing climate. Supporting pollinators is an essential for food security and health for the ecosystem, healthy ecosystems. Pollinators are responsible for a huge portion of the food we eat, and they play a critical role in maintaining biodiversity. By creating pollinator-friendly habitats, we build resilience into our food systems and support natural processes that keep our planet healthy. Climate change is a massive challenge, but it's not insurmountable. There are solutions, and we all have a role to play. We need to transition to renewable energy sources like solar and wind, improve energy efficiency, develop sustainable transportation systems, and protect and restore our woodlands and forests. We need to support local initiatives like rewilding and pollinator conservation, which contribute to the larger picture. What can you do to support organizations working on climate change solutions, make sustainable choices in your daily life, advocate for change, and most importantly, talk about it. Educate yourself and others. Every action, no matter how small, makes a difference. Let's work together to protect our planet from the smallest bee to the largest forest. Thanks for watching and protect the planet.
Wow, James, I've got to say, I've just moved James into the webinar, I hope. There he is. Thank you for that, James. That really truly is inspiring. Thank you. So everyone, clap for James there. So let's get this off and running, James. So you're 18 years old. You're the winner of the Zaya Sustainability Prize 2020-24 for your work. So welcome. Here we go. So when we talk about climate change, and particularly climate action, UN SDG 13, what does that mean to you, and especially for young people? Can't seem to hear you, James.
Muted, sorry.
There you go.
So it's about actively doing something to tackle climate change and not just talking about it. Human activities like burning fossil fuels for energy and deforestation release gases that trap heat, warming our planet. We're already seeing the impacts like extreme weather, climate action means urgently reducing those emissions. That's mitigation, and adapting to change is already happening, like building flood defences.
Okay, so let's have a think about UN SDG 7, the affordable and clean energy. How's that goal attached to Goal 13, climate change action?
So they're absolutely essential together. About 3/4 of global emissions come from how we produce and use energy for electricity, transport, heating, and manufacturing. Much of this comes from dirty fossil fuels. SDG 7 is about switching to clean sources like solar, wind, hydropower, and geothermal energy. These don't pollute or warm the planet. Making clean energy affordable globally is a key to fixing a massive part of the climate problem.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, James. Okay, let's really get to it, shall we? So, the Zaya Sustainability Prize in 2024. What did your project involve? Give us some information on that.
So first of all, winning was an incredible honor. Our project focused on establishing a community nature reserve. We undertook detailed planning, extensive tree planting to capture carbon, and established an apiary with beehives to support pollinators. We installed solar panels to power a weather station and for data collection from the beehives, giving us insights into local climate conditions and colony health. We also rewilded areas and spent a lot of time educating younger students about nature and climate action. An apple orchard was established with produce shared locally. The project aimed to reduce our carbon footprint, enhancing natural carbon sinks and build climate resilience. And we shared our work at major climate and science conferences.
Right, well, that's pretty comprehensive. That's quite a project you've got there. With its solar powered work and its sensors, that sounds a bit like citizen science. Could you explain what citizen science means in this context?
So citizen science is where public participates in scientific research for climate change. It's vital because scientists can't be everywhere. Technology is key. Our project used solar-powered sensors, but it also included smartphone apps for tracking biodiversity or people building their own low-cost air quality or mini weather stations using tools like Arduino or Raspberry Pi, often powered by small solar panels. This allows for vital hyperlocal data collection.
That's brilliant. So you're using small kit to get a big action underway, really. So, from your perspective, how do your activities reinforce the idea that we can all make a difference?
So our projects showed that even a small group can generate clean energy, improve local biodiversity, and create solutions. Governments and corporations are crucial, but they need individuals and communities to innovate and implement solutions on the ground. Every single person has a part to play.
Too true, so true. So realistically, then, so what are some of the big challenges in achieving widespread clean energy and climate action?
For clean energy, ensuring constant availability is a hurdle. What happens when the sun isn't shining or the wind isn't blowing? This means we need better energy storage and smarter grids. Also, sometimes the technology just isn't there yet. Also, as well as this, the initial cost of larger scale renewable projects is also a factor. Some costs can be exponential. For climate action, generally getting everyone on board and combating greenwashing, companies misinterpreting their sustainability,
Hmm.
are major challenges.
Oh, yeah. So how do you encourage your peers to take meaningful action in given that scenario?
Focus on the clear, verifiable facts and simple, actionable steps. Use social media for good, sharing positive stories. It's about making it relatable and showing every action adds up while also demanding systemic change from leaders and businesses.
That's brilliant. That really is great. So, if you were going to give some advice to young people about learning about these issues, because sometimes they can feel overwhelming, what would your advice be?
Don't feel overwhelmed, feel empowered. If you think you have a good idea, get in touch with someone. Try start a project. Don't shy yourself away from, oh, it's too big for me. Get involved. Contact businesses, contact local organizations, and a lot of them will be happy to have you on board. Learn about the science and solutions. Most importantly, think about what you're good at or love and connect it to climate action, whether it's art, social media, organizing, or writing. Every skill can be a tool for positive change. Your voice, your choices, and energy matter and can inspire others.
Thank you, James. That's a brilliant and hopeful note. It really, really is. So, well, thank you so much for sharing your insights, and thank you all, everyone, for watching this part. So remember, affordable clean energy and climate action are goals we can all contribute to. Yeah, all. That's everyone. Me, you, James, everyone. So let's power our future together. Show of hands for James. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate your contribution. But we move on. Thank you. Okay, so um, the next part, it's actually segued in. You'd think we planned this really. We're going to look at a couple of solutions and ways that we can engage in citizen science and how we can start to use small systems in order to do that. So I'm just going to flick a quick video on.
Right, well, good afternoon. Here we are, early June, sunny afternoon, and we're outside in the garden. So I'm making my way towards, I think you smell the tree, making my way towards the two environment stations I've got set up. I'm just going to switch focus. Okay, so here we are. So here's the two stations. Here's one. Here's my Arduino Uno R4 Wi-Fi. Oh, there's a mouthful. Being run by a solar panel there. And the solar panel controller over there with the battery on it. So we can run that light, of course. And so what have we got going on here? We've got the Arduino board. We've got the DHT11, which is taking temperature and humidity readings. We have a micro SD card attached to it so that if it cannot show the data by Wi-Fi, or I just want to keep continuing stream of record and data logging, and it will do that. And also I've got the SGP30 data sensor, and that's sensing CO2 in the atmosphere and TVOCs or TVOCs, total volatile organic compounds. Okay, so I'm just going to put the lid back on that. Now I put the lid on because actually with the sun shining directly at it, temperature can get up to about 55 degrees, and so that just helps to diffuse the heat. If I go to my second system, there we go, you can see. So this is a slightly different Arduino setup. Now I'm pointing out there the Portenta D33, and next to it is actually the sensor, the workhorse. So there we go, which is the Nicholas Sense ENB or ENB, I suppose, and that is recording everything. It's recording temperature and humidity, but more importantly, it's recording ozone and nitrous oxide in the atmosphere as well. And that has been made with a solar charging power banks. There's various different ways that we can start to charge, of course. Now that's a permanent big battery. Yes, we're looking at. That's my solar panel, and then that's a little voltage controller with a battery on it. They both do exactly the same thing, really. We're both using solar power. Here we can see that there I'm pointing at my antenna, the Portenta C33. It's quite a small antenna. The Arduino or Wi-Fi has got quite a good big powerful antenna built in, which has got a lot of options. You can see that's quite a lot going into the board with the Portenta. Yeah, there's much less going on. It looks a little bit tiny. I think they both help me to monitor the environment. And these are systems, of course, that you could quite easily set up at home or set up at school and just leave to go off and monitor the data. Next, we'll be looking at the data actually shown as web pages. Thank you.
Okay, so that was just a quick interlude into systems that you can use. Now, I will state Arduino aren't the only microcontrollers on the board. Of course, there are others, Raspberry Pi and similar. This is something that potentially you could start at school, although it's in my back garden. Equally could be put anywhere else, of course. Two systems that do similar but not quite the same things. Really good for monitoring the climate, what is actually happening, what is the CO2, what are the volatile organic compounds and so on. But once you've got that, this is some way that you can then start to monitor.
Portenta C33 and the Nicholas Sense data, and you can see that it's a web page. It's using an internal IP address. Your internal IP addresses will be similar or different depending on where you are, of course, but they'll be sort of unique to you. But we can see that what's being provided to me is being updated every 10 seconds or so. It will depend on what else is going on in your network, to be honest. But it's giving me the date and the time, and I can see that it's giving me temperature. Looks quite high. That's because I've brought the systems inside for a week to experiment. But it's giving me the temperature. It's giving me the NO2, the nitrogen dioxide, and it's telling me that it is 90.23 parts per billion, so 90 parts per billion. Say, now the safe level is 100 parts per billion for an hour, so I would want to keep an eye on that. So that's quite high really. It's towards the end of the safe range. Is that deliberately? Because actually what I've done is I've sprayed a light chemical near it just to show you. And the AQI is 22. Now, in terms of AQI levels, that's pretty good. Air quality index, that's all that means. If it's below 50, it's good. So the air quality where the sensor is quite good. I switched to the Arduino Uno R4 Wi-Fi. It's doing a similar sort of thing. It's giving the temperature. I've got it in Fahrenheit there, and the humidity. It's telling me that there are no TVOX or the very low levels, so it's not recording them. It's a different sensor. It's not sensitive, but it's working, and it's giving me a CO2 level 100 parts per million, which is as the system's settling down, it's calibrating. That seems an end part really to our very short, very brief introduction to Arduino and environmental sensing. Here is some of the data from the micro SD that I attached to the Arduino Uno R4 Wi-Fi. And we can see that it every few seconds it's pumping out the date. Yeah. So there we go. Temperature, centigrade and Fahrenheit, humidity, TVOX, and CO2, ECO2. It just these E stands for equivalent. It's an internal algorithm that the sensor uses to measure it. It's pretty reliable. Okay, great.
Right, so well, that's sort of enough from me for the moment on that. Let's see, have a very quick video as to how something like that can be put into action in a primary school. This is a clip, very short clip from a couple of weeks ago, a little project that we were running in Eistead Rise Primary School to give them a shout out, so to speak. So I'm just going to click the play button. And so that was just a very quick run through the 2 hours that we were at the school. We accomplished a fantastic amount. And so this is you being used to illustrate that you can do climate monitoring from whatever age. And so if I remember rightly, these were year 4 students, which was great fun to work with. And some of the data that we collected on the day, I've just put in front of us. So this then is not just a quick in and out, do the measuring. The school was then left with a lot of data that they could then start to work with to see what is happening in their climate. Yeah, UN SDG 13, if you like. And we can see that in quite a short period of time, they can collect a lot of data. In this case of CO2, now those levels are very high. Those levels are very high because we move from the relative comfort and safety of the classroom and we went outside. Oops, just losing the bottom of my spreadsheet there. We went outside and so you can see, to reverse it, back down towards the classroom, readings of about 400. But as we move towards the main road, readings, there we go, look, of 800 and so on. 800 is not a safe level to be working at. So the last couple of minutes really have been, okay, let's have a quick look at how you can use technology in the classroom, in my case, in the garden, but that could just as easily be in the garden, in the classroom rather, to monitor what's going on. If you're using small systems, they're an ideal way to understand how to use solar and so on in order to power our nascent technology. Okay, now, so we're moving towards 10:30. Our next guest will be Louise Robertson from the Sustainable Academy. But before we do that, let's just see what Louise's students get up to. So I'm just going to play another video. Here we go.
Learning about the environment, exciting and stories, experiments, and challenges to help us see how our small actions can lead to big changes. Learning about sustainability helps me understand the actions I can take to care for the earth and be a responsible earth steward. It makes me feel more hopeful and positive because I know I'm doing something that makes a real difference to the planet and future generations. Embedding Earth stewardship in primary education supports the development of key skills such as critical thinking, empathy, and collaboration. This builds both environmental literacy and a deeper connection to community and interaction. It also aligns with global education goals such as the UN Sustainable Development Goals by encouraging young people to think globally while acting locally. I think sustainability characters are really fun because they help me learn about the planet in an exciting way. I like how they're all working together to protect the earth, and it makes me want to be an earth steward as well. Okay, he helps us planting our vegetables and staying healthy. Hi, here we've been learning about tour. And on our journey, area has been okay to make sure that we in class, we've been learning about climate change. Turkey helped us understand that wind turbines don't pollute the air like fossil fuels do. With Turkey's help, we designed our own mini wind turbines and tested them. It was so cool. Turkey taught us how wind can be turned into clean energy. It's like magic from nature. So exploring renewable energy with Turkey, we now think about how we waste and save energy at home. Falling out clean up the area by using others and makes us want to plant more trees. Hope makes us feel hope about conservation and nature already. Planning helps us be energetic and understand how to look after nature. Harmony will help the nature and our emotions.
Brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. I'm taken by that phrase. It's like magic from nature. That's such an inspiring quote. We should get sweatshirts with that printed on, I think. So, well, hello, Louise. So, Louise Robinson, welcome. Louise Robinson is the founder of the Sustainables Academy. I'm so pleased to have you here. Yet again, that short video showing some very young students, very young pupils getting into climate action and responding to it in such a positive and happy way. That's really great. It really is. Bringing tears to my eyes, literally. So anyway, let's get into this, Louise. Thank you. So tell me, what inspired the creation of the Sustainables Academy, and how has your vision evolved over time?
Okay, so thank you for inviting me, and thank you for everyone for being here. And I hope you enjoyed seeing the young people in the video. So I spent many years as a head teacher in the UK and internationally. And when I came home, I started to work for a university, and I was popping into schools and making assessments of student teachers in schools. And I was the young and some mature students really wanted to teach sustainability. And what I was going in and seeing was great efforts, but nothing really based on pedagogy and upon actual practice and knowledge and theory. And so I felt like that this was an area that was missing, and that our educators really wanted to participate in delivering something that was robust. So that was the initial thought of going into it from an educational point of view. But from a personal point of view, I've lived globally. I've lived in Asia. I've seen an awful lot of ocean pollution and plastic pollution. You know, just as James was saying before, the changes within the environment and the impact upon us, it really sort of like drove me. And this was the one thing that I could do, and I could my way of changing, of participating in and making the change.
Brilliant. Thank you, Louise. Thank you for sharing that. So, How does the Academy make learning about sustainability and the circular economy accessible and engaging for younger children?
So the key to it is the fact that we're getting our younger people right from 3 all the way through to 18 involved in the sustainability and the climate change agenda. For me, the having the 12 pathways of the curriculum for circular economy and for sustainability and for climate mental health was really important, and having that structure. And what I wanted to be able to do was empower teachers to empower learners. And so it's very much co-created, and having the opportunity for young people to have the opportunity to develop their own learning through inquiry and through phenomenon questions that are scaffolded is a key thing to the development of the curriculum and the resource.
Right. Thank you. So, one of your strengths, and we've spoken before, Louise and I, but one of your strengths is aligning with existing curriculum models. How does this approach support continuity and progression in learning? Yeah, we're down into the curriculum now.
Yeah, so all over the world, education authorities, nations are looking at sustainability. OECD will be assessing what countries are doing in sustainability education. And the trouble is, policy and resources can take an awful long time. And what I felt was that we haven't got time. And so there may be nations that are developing fantastic sustainability, climate change curriculum models right now, which is absolutely fantastic. We want to enhance them. We want to support that. But it was a case of what we've got now are different curriculum models across the world, and our educators can start embedding sustainability and climate change education into their curriculum right now. And it's about turning on your sustainability head when a teacher is planning the learning. So I'm going to give a little example. So the World War topics are covered, particularly in the UK. And they give a brilliant starting point for looking at sustainability and the 10 R's of the circular economy, because during that wartime period, that's what people did. There was, they were really careful on their food waste. They were digging for Britain. They were make do amending. And so even within the primary curriculum, you can take a thematic approach, a project, a topic, and you can develop that within your learning, or you can take sustainability as a topic in itself. And most schools cover water cycles, and that's a perfect example for looking at water conservation. So that idea of aligning it into your curriculum, and what we've tried to do is give a structure and a progression. And you asked me in the question about progression, that you can take that vocabulary from 3 to 18 and develop the sustainability, circular economy vocabulary and the learning objectives in the appropriate stages for the appropriate age group and cohort.
That's great, and of course that helps with the continuity. Sustainability isn't just we've done the lesson, let's move on. It's something that you come back to. This cyclical idea. So so moving on, and of course we're a global community. We're not just based in England. We truly are global. So can you describe how the Sustainable Academy integrates with frameworks like the Curriculum for Excellence, Curriculum for Wales, or the Australian curriculum?
Yeah, so we've actually developed the curriculum for Australia for primary, and we've done each of the stages of primary and aligned it for them for sustainability. We're working on circular economy right now. For Wales work they have a progression theme, so we've aligned it exactly with that, and we've got some schools in Wales that are trialing for us right now. We've taken the depth of knowledge in the USA and we've taken that program and we've aligned it to their sciences in the first instance, and we've done some work on TEECs, which is used in places like the state of Texas. They use the TEECs model, and then of course that curriculum for excellence, which is the one that I have the most recent experience of. So we've aligned both all of everything for circular economy and sustainability because the schools in Scotland are using it. But most importantly, from the international sector, the MYP, the PYP, and the international primary curriculum are very much phenomenon based, inquiry based, big questions, and student led. So we've got some elements of that on our website already that you can, if you were starting on an international primary curriculum topic, you could use that as a big question. We've got things that you can, that curriculum particularly likes to have a big wow moment to start off the learning. So we've provided that kind of resource. So all those elements, and if you're in, say, you're in a British international school or an Australian international school, you can take those elements of the curriculum. And the lovely thing is that we've got schools in 61 countries across the globe who access everything's free. They access our free resource, and we're hoping eventually that we'll be able to get schools communicating, because they would be with having a set of 12 pathways. We can have young people in Australia, America, Indonesia, in a British international school, say, following energy conservation as a pathway and be able to compare it. We have also just found someone who kindly will translate into Spanish for us. So we could do it with technology, but we feel like actually we want to make sure that we've got a human being that will double check what we have and that it makes sense and that it's real. And of course, then we're working with educationalists in those countries. So everybody who has been participating in this has done so on a voluntary basis, and so it's been launched for 2 years, and it's becoming a little bit of a very exciting phenomena.
And this is what inspires me, possibly even keeps me going, is that there is so much goodwill out there, so many people willing to give their time, their resources, their skills, their knowledge, free of charge, and to continue to do that. That is that's heartening, to say the least. So so you're a free, not-for-profit initiative, yeah. So how does the Academy ensure that children from all backgrounds can access high-quality sustainability education?
Well, we have some specific elements that we've put onto the website. That, say, for instance, that we've started to develop using dyslexic font, so that sort of like gives that accessibility. We have a YouTube channel, so we have audio elements that are supporting. I've just recently excitedly found out, but we haven't done anything with this at all, but the University of Edinburgh, I believe, have developed science sign language. So I'm quite excited about that, to see whether we can actually embrace that within the website. So that could be quite exciting. That we do rely on our educators to take the resource and use it. Our visual characters are really important because I think that they give a hook. And one of my philosophies is that actually, if we don't sort out our climate and our environment and create this biosphere balance, there's no point teaching anything else, because we'll have destroyed our world. So
Exactly.
this is our number one. So for accessibility, we rely on we've actually differentiated so that teachers can, if you've got in any primary classroom, you could have a child who is functioning early years, or even or a P4 if you're talking about a lower primary class. So we've actually differentiated our resources so that you could say take the vocabulary from 3 areas and use those that are appropriate for the child, the young person in their learning at that particular time.
Oh, that's brilliant. Look, Louise, you know, time goes by so quickly. We are at the end of our slot, so to speak. But I can't thank you enough, people. First thing is, let's give Louise a round of applause, please. And please, I do urge you to look at her site. Go in there, take part. If you can help Louise, put your hand up and help Louise, please. Yeah, because we do run on goodwill a lot of our climate action. So once again, Louise, thank you very much for that. I do appreciate your contribution. And all power to your young people. That's an inspiring video. I am going to get a t-shirt or a spray hoodie or something with magic from nature written on it, because that is so brilliant. It's tickled me. Thank you very much, Louise. I appreciate that. Right, people, we're going to move on. So I'm just going to queue up where I should be. Yeah, just going to share. So our next guest will be Elena Brenet. I hope I pronounced her name correctly this time. First of all, though, we're going to have a little look at what Elena's organization, Digital Camp, does. So here we go.
Michael, there's no audio.
So we're here to
Sorry, say that again.
There was no audio. I think it's just come on now.
Oh,
Digital Camp because we really believe in the opportunity that students have to build the future that they want to see.
people need to start realizing is that there's actually a lot you can do, and you don't have to feel like because you're just one person on your own you can't do anything. I think that nature only shows us the consequences of our own actions. We just need to understand how to connect with the nature and at the same time working towards it every day.
I feel like there should be more people out there actually supporting, you know, these pressure groups, these topics, so that the young people can actually find solutions to make the world a better place.
We're helping students to understand what AI is, how it can help them on a daily basis, and how it can give them a good head start in their career.
We've already had students going through the Digital Camp program, through our digital incubator, who've come up with ideas to reduce our environmental footprint.
We came up with the idea of using kinetic tiles, which essentially generate energy when you click on them, and also gathering data insights for them. So like understanding the number of people walking across the floor at a certain time, and you know which directions they're going in. And in a world that's like driven full of data now, we thought that would be pretty useful.
And we want to think about what kind of world we want to be in, what kind of world they want to be in, what we want to change, and how we're going to change that.
Currently designing an app which will reduce the waste of unwanted food produce before it gets to consumers.
So it's all about giving them the opportunity to think big, play with their ideas, develop them, present them, and to build the confidence to go after what it is that they actually want to make it real.
right, brilliant. Thank you, Elena. So I am so pleased. So here's Elena, CEO of Digital Camp, and we've gone, as you can see, from quite young to much older youth. So it does span, of course, doesn't it? So welcome.
Thank you, Michael. Great to be here.
Okay, so you're doing some incredible work. I know that because I've known you for a little while now. But for those that do not know you or do not know Digital Camp, tell us, what's your core mission? What do you do?
Thank you so much. Yes, we're super excited because we are bringing together young people to get together with professionals and build digital skills and projects with impact. The problem that we're trying to address is that most young people don't actually get the opportunity to build these skills and learn them systematically and meet with professionals before the age of 18. So we want to address this gap, and we're offering a digital camp, an academy, and incubator programs to help young people between the ages of 14 and 24 to discover and play with tech and learn how to use it to tackle challenges.
Brilliant. So, okay, so let's dive right into that, because this is sort of part of our focus. how does Digital Camp specifically contribute to SDG 7 and SDG 13?
Right. So digital skills are absolutely transformational and is going to help us to crack the nut, if you will, and get to the solutions that we need for affordable clean energy as well as climate action, SDGs 7 and 13. So for example, we need people to be able to understand how to work with data, how to work with connecting different devices together, how to build digital platforms, and to work towards impacts that are going to make specific changes. So with data, what you can do is learn how to pinpoint where energy consumption is highest and model out where to place solar panels, for example, or identify opportunities for energy savings. With Internet of Things or connecting physical devices together, we have the opportunity to create a smart grid solution and optimize energy solutions. And that will help us to reduce waste and integrate wind and solar and clean energy systems into the existing power systems. And we have students that have been looking at these kinds of projects in our digital incubator. And then finally, digital platforms, for example, can help to raise the awareness of renewable energy options, create community-owned clean energy projects and apps that raise awareness and education. And these can have impacts that are far-reaching, helping to distribute clean energy that's available to everyone. And that also helps with financial goals. When it comes to climate action, SDG 13, additional digital skills will help in, for example, climate monitoring and data science, so young people can learn how to analyze weather patterns, track greenhouse gas emissions, monitor deforestation and sea level rises with satellite images. These can then be helped to create early warning systems and help communities to adapt and prepare for becoming more resilient in their communities. And it can also help us to create algorithms, for example, to optimize public transport and reduce carbon emissions, or create digital advocacy and mobilization solutions so that young people can learn how to use media, use digital storytelling, and to raise awareness and become digital advocates effectively to drive more change in their communities.
Brilliant. So that's a fantastic breakdown. You've piled a lot into that really quite short space there, and this I think this really highlights how broad the application of digital skills are. The application of technology. But I know as an educator, and you know as CEO of Digital Camp, that some young people watching might be thinking, "I'm passionate about the environment. I want things to change. I want to advocate." But I'm not really a coder. I'm not so confident with tech. Maybe. What message do you have for them?
Thank you so much for that question. The message is you don't have to be a seasoned coder to get started. Digital skills are an absolute necessity for every young person and every older person to learn. It's like a language. We need to learn this new language to be able to create different types of solutions. We need to understand technologies, what they do, and how they can help us in order to be able to create change. So your passion and your willingness to learn and take action are your greatest assets. That's my message. And you can be you can have a whole range of digital skills. That might be being a storyteller, being a video editor, being a graphic designer, being an organizer, being a people person and a project management person that gets teams to work together and to collaborate, because digital tools and digital skills are used across all of these types of roles, and anybody and everybody should be working together to create these solutions.
That's great. Yeah. So it's not just the tech. The tech is a tool. That's great. So I'm just conscious of time as always. So if I were to push you on some of the key digital skills that you see as most impactful, are you able to sort of highlight some of the key skills that you think we should be looking at and young people should be developing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think AI literacy and proficiency is really key. As you hear about in the news, it's everywhere. It's transforming every industry, every job. And it's important that you understand how to use these tools. And the foundations underneath the AI is data literacy and analytics. So being able to understand and interpret and present data that gives us the insights that then artificial intelligence can use to help us automate things. The second area then is basic programming and coding. I think it's important to learn the logic of that. Digital communication and content creation, so everything from social media strategy to video production and graphic design, being able to tell your story and to be able to bring others along the journey with you to impact change is really important. And then I think finally problem solving and design thinking. So really understanding who is at the center of these challenges, understand their thinking, and use design thinking to be able to create empathy and then come up with the right solutions by understanding the people that are at the heart of that.
Great. Thank you, Eleanor. So my last question really. So what's your ultimate vision for Digital Camp? Will it continue to contribute to SDGs 7 and 13 and of course the other SDGs in the coming years?
Yes, absolutely. Our vision is that we have young people all around the world that are connecting together to learn these digital skills, working with professionals to get mentorship, to be able to actually not only design their projects, but to bring them to life and to create their own businesses, and that we have a community of people all around the world that are connecting all together to drive change towards these specific SDGs 7 and 13. And ultimately that we're bringing more people on board to understand technologies, to utilize them for good. And we also want to invite anybody that's on this call to be joining us. We are offering a free course in our platform. If you go to learn.digitalcamp.org.uk, you can sign up for our platform. It's free. And then you can sign up for the Design Thinking for Sustainability course. It just takes about an hour and you will get a certificate at the end of that you can use to promote your skills on LinkedIn.
Brilliant. There we go, people. So yeah, so we've got Eleanor as well is offering this free to access, free to use access to sustainability materials, ideas and development. This is great. Just repeating what I said earlier, really, there is so much goodwill and so much free stuff out there that we can take advantage. Eleanor, thank you very much for contributing to the session today. Good luck, and show of hands, please, for people, even if it's just virtual. Thank you very much, Eleanor. Appreciate your assistance with this. Okay.
Thank you, Michael. Great to be here.
Thank you. Right. So we are going to move things along. I'm just making sure I'm sharing the right thing here. Give me just a second. There we go. It says I'm sharing the right thing. Okay, so sort of a brief interlude. I will give you a piece of background. So a little while ago, Side Business School asked me to contribute a short written piece on basically how I got to climate change. Yeah, like everything else in, well, possibly my life, but probably everyone else's life, it's a bit of happenstance. Yeah, we get to where we are. We might try and plan, but we don't always get to where we are because of what we plan. We get to where we are because of what's happened. But we need to move on from happenstance. It's a problem. Our planet is in a mess because of happenstance. Where do we go from there? So it's just something that I've pre-recorded. So I'm just going to play it now, and I will attempt to be quiet in the background.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for viewing this. If it's the 6th of June 2025, chances are you're at the Global Youth Climate Summit 2025. So welcome. I would like to move on from an earlier article, Happenstance or Intent, Making Climate Action Count. I'd like to build upon the ideas in that article. So what was the original article about? Well, the original article observed that while our current circumstances might stem from unplanned development choices, and they do, we often get to where we are almost randomly. Some might call it the butterfly effect. The key is to transform those unintended positions into a deliberate starting point for progress. Yeah, we may be here by accident. Where are we going to go? So today, I would like us to consider moving on from happenstance, climate change to climate emergency, because that's where we are. Climate change is very passive, sounds passive, we are actually in an emergency. So, getting directly to the core of the challenge, we're past the point of passive observation, way past. We are deep within a planetary emergency, a global emergency, if you like. We must transform unplanned events into a fierce starting point for deliberate and strategic action. Now, through established, verified facts and stark projections, you will see why happenstance is no longer a viable path. Only clear, logical planning and decisive actions rooted in global goals, such as UN SDGs 7 and 13, can secure our future. So, let's get started. So, I reckon the age of unintended consequences. Yeah, much of what is happening now is an unintended consequence. But let's be brutally honest about how we arrived here. The Industrial Revolution, born from human ingenuity, to be applauded, unleashed unprecedented progress. Lots of benefits. However, it has also unleashed an unprecedented environmental debt. Pioneers, fossil fuels didn't intend to destabilize our climate. That was not their aim. And yet it's happened. Yet there's happenstance choices that led us here. We now face a reality where global temperatures have already surged over 1 degree centigrade since the 1850s. Decade 2013 to 2023 is the warmest on record, Perhaps we should change that to the hottest. And this isn't a gradual trend, it's an accelerating crisis. It is getting faster. Atmospheric CO2 levels are at their highest in over 2 million years. So they've risen for 2 million years. We're now at an alarming 420 parts per million. Oh, what's that? Well, a safe level of CO2 is estimated to be around 350 parts per million. So we are way above. And this wasn't an accident. It's the direct consequence of burning billions of tons of fossil fuels. Fuels are not clean. They're not clean fuels. They're not affordable anymore or sustainable. And this directly contradicts the spirit of UN SDG 7, affordable and clean energy. We've chased energy, but not sustainably. We pursued it. It's been one of our major goals to get us to where we are in 2025. And the events of the past decade have clearly removed the idea of affordable fossil fuel generated energy. Cheap energy is no longer a thing. The Arctic, think of the Arctic as our planet's fridge or refrigerator, is warming at least twice as fast as the global average, with sea ice 65% thinner than in 1975. Only a third of sea ice exists when compared to 1975. So let's be clear. These are not statistics for academic debate. If they were, wouldn't be a problem. But they are not just statistics. They're the dark markers of a global system in peril. System thrown off balance by collective happenstance. We all arrived here by accident. But it's pushing us to the brink of catastrophe. And I'm using words like catastrophe for effect. We truly are on the edge of a disaster. So, where are we? Well, let's unfold this emergency. Impacts we can no longer ignore. First, the term climate change feels too passive, too gentle for what is unfolding. We are now in a full-blown climate emergency. The scientific projections are no longer distant threats, they're no longer what may happen in however many decades. They are immediate reality, they are our now. So, sea level rise. Global average sea level has risen approximately 24 centimeters since 1880. Well, that's a fair amount. With the rate doubling though in the last 2 decades, so again, it's accelerating. Projections now warn of at least another 30 centimeters by 2100. potentially up to 2 meters in high emission scenarios. If we do not get our emissions down, we could be having sea levels 2 meters, that's taller than I am, rising. Now note the jump here from centimeters to meters to measure the possible sea rise. That's a measure of the acceleration. This means entire coastal communities. I live fairly close to London. Thousands of hectares of land will be underwater, which means millions of people will need to move, which means hundreds, if not thousands, of businesses will have to close. Major cities, critical infrastructure, are literally being submerged. And this is a direct assault on the planet. Let's get this straight. It's a direct assault on the planet, an undeniable impact that must be addressed. This falls into the category of UN SDG 13, climate action. We must take climate action. What else? Well, the extreme weather intensification. We are witnessing an unprecedented escalation. Perhaps I shouldn't use the phrase witness here. Witness speaks of bystanders. We should not be bystanders. But let's go with this for the moment. We are witnessing an unprecedented escalation. Hotter, longer heat waves that cripple health systems, directly affect human beings, intensifying droughts that destroy agriculture, and tropical cyclones that are stronger and wetter, wiping out communities, whole communities gone. Human-caused climate change has doubled the area of forest burned in recent decades. This isn't just weather, it's a weaponized climate, and the weaponization is against us and the ecology that we live in. And we're seeing ecological collapse. Our planet's biodiversity is collapsing. 30 to 50% of species, up to half of all species, could disappear by mid-century. That's only 25 years away. If warming hits 1.5 to 2 degrees. Now something, since 1970, so roughly 55 years, since 1970, animal populations have plummeted. They've dropped by an average of 68%. So this isn't just an anomaly, it's mass extinction. It's an unraveling of the very fabric of life that sustains us. The animals and the plants, the flora and the fauna that is out there are important to us. They are not divorced from us. Okay, so a critical point, and one that must be stated clearly. In the face of such overwhelming, peer-reviewed scientific evidence and the observable impacts already being felt globally, views that deny the reality or human cause of climate change must not be given credence. Yes, free expression is a cornerstone of our open societies, not one that I would give up. But that right does not extend to promoting ideas that run counter to established scientific consensus. We're not talking about wacky ideas, we're talking about established scientific consensus, agreement across many groups. Particularly when those ideas risk causing irreparable harm to our planet and potentially destroying the lives and livelihoods of millions. We're moving up the scale here, aren't we? We're not talking about tens, we're not talking about hundreds, we're not talking about thousands, we are talking about millions of people being directly affected. Now, as professionals dedicated to evidence-based solutions, we must ground our discussions and actions in verifiable facts, not in misinformation or unsubstantiated opinions that hinder progress. This is not about stifling dialogue. Dialogue must be encouraged. It's about upholding the integrity of truth in a moment of truly existential crisis. When you advocate, please ensure you are able to back this up with research and proof. Be able to stand on what you say. Now, the numbers and projections are not just scientific forecasts, they're the warning signs of a broken system, demanding an immediate, intentional intervention. So, we can react, and we should react, of course, but let's go from reaction to revolution. Let's embrace intentional action. My original article identifies the power of structured exploration, moving beyond merely being able, we're doing our bit. This is the revolutionary shift from happenstance to intent, going from arrived here randomly to I now need to plan where I'm going. This is where UN SDG 7, affordable and clean energy, and UN SDG 13, climate action, become not just our goals, but our operational blueprint. Yeah, we can use these. So what do we need to do? Well, first, strategic planning and accountability. Just as a battle plan guides an army, humanity needs a climate action plan. This means aggressive, non-negotiable targets. Limiting warming to well below 2 degrees, ideally 1.5, is not optional. It's survival. If we do not do it, we will not survive. This requires capping emissions now and having them by 2030. This is a direct SDG 13 action, and there will be pushback against this. And we need to integrate climate into every decision, from corporate boardrooms to local government. Every policy, investment and project must be climate screened. No more happenstance-driven decisions. No more putting it off and seeing what happens. We must be rigorous and vigorous in our application. Second, aggressive mitigation and robust adaptation. We must not just react to the next disaster. If it happens, do something. We must stop it. We must prepare for what's already inevitable. We know things are going to happen. So let's plan beforehand. We need radical mitigation. It's the core of SDGs 7 and 13. We must dismantle the fossil fuel economy and rapidly transition to truly clean, affordable, and sustainable energy. And it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be cheap. This means massive investment in solar, wind, and geothermal technology. Alongside unparalleled energy efficiency, the two must work together. More efficiency and more clean routes. And this cannot be a slow evolution. It's a rapid, necessary revolution. Do not be made sidelined by the naysayers on this. Stand firm, stand strong. We need resilient adaptation, building flood defenses, developing drought-resistant crops, establishing early warning systems, and updating infrastructure for a changed climate. These are defensive lines we must build. And thirdly, local power, global momentum. The ripple effect of intentional local action is key. This empowers communities to be frontline responders and innovators. It demands empowered community leadership. Localized solutions driven by those most effective are vital. Bring it down to the local level. Do not rely on governments, big corporations to take action. They've been shown to not always have our best interests in mind. We need unprecedented cross-sector collaboration. Governments, businesses, scientists, and citizens must lock arms on this. We must join together. No silo can tackle this alone. We need a multifaceted approach. And we need to invest in no-regret actions. Measures that offer clear benefits, regardless of specific climate futures. Energy efficiency, workforce upskilling, and strengthening resilience are essential for immediate, tangible impact. Let's make those decisions. Let's take those actions. Let's do it now. So, is this our defining moment? We've got the happenstance, we've moved beyond. How are we going to be remembered? How are we going to be defined? Well, the climate emergency is the defining challenge of our existence. It is our now. It's not an abstract concept, not at all. It's our lived reality. The trajectory of climate change is not a predetermined fate. It need not be. It will be if we do not take action, but it need not be. It's a consequence of our choices. Well, past happenstance led us here. Not a lot we can do about that. That's the past. But our future depends entirely on our collective, unyielding intent. So we're past the point of climate change. That's a neutral term. We are in a climate emergency. It demands a radical shift in mindset, from passive awareness to urgent, purposeful action. The scientific facts are grim. You can't get away from that. But let's move away from the shock and awe. The scientific facts illuminate the immense power we hold to forge a sustainable, resilient future. Let us move forward, not with despair. This is not the time for despair, but with fierce determination, logical plans, and unwavering intent. Using every tool, let's include the global mandates of UN SDGs 7 and 13 to make every action count towards a habitable, livable planet for all. Yeah, it's important. Not stress for all, not for some, not for the few, but for all. So, happenstances how we got here. Intent is where we go forward. Thank you for listening. Stay safe.
Okay, so well, there we go. Happenstance, yeah, by accident. Let's do something about it. I have the very great pleasure of introducing Susie Hammond. I've just moved her into the webinar. Hopefully, there we are. Brilliant. It worked. I'm sounding surprised, people, because Susie is actually at the Canterbury Schools Eco Conference, and I was starting to panic here because Susie was inevitably, as we do, having problems getting her technology to do what we want the technology to do. Anyway, Susie is here. Welcome, Susie. Oh,
Hi, Michael. Nice to see you.
and you. So what are you doing then, Susie? You're at the Canterbury Schools Eco Conference. What's that about? Let's share that.
Yeah, so I've been invited along to be a judge and a speaker at the Canterbury Schools Eco Conference today, where there's 8 primary schools, and they've been giving us presentations about their eco projects all morning, work that their eco teams have done. So this has ranged from a greater green project, recycling project, to a very inventive insect hotel that's been created called Buckingham Palace.
Brilliant. Buckingham Palace. I like that. I'm going to have to get a T-shirt with that on as well
Yeah.
now. So Susie,
Yeah.
so what's your day job then? I haven't told people what that is.
Yeah, so I'm from Kent County Council in the UK, and I work in the environment and circular economy team. And as part of my role, I lead on sustainability and environmental engagement with schools. So it's a real privilege to be joining you here today. Thank you for inviting me along.
Well, no, thank you for joining. So you're at this eco conference, and again, people always stress this is primary schools. Yes, we are working wholeheartedly today with some very young pupils, students that are really getting engaged. So, have you got any guests? Did you manage to get any? That would be my first question. Have you got anyone you can pull on, or should we?
Sorry, what did you say?
Have you got anyone that you can pull on?
No, they're still in the middle of their presentations. So
fair enough. Well,
no, I'm afraid you're just stuck with me.
That's good. So okay, so you're being a judge today, brilliant. So give us an overview, if you could, of some of the things that are happening in Kent, which is obviously where you're based.
Yeah, sure. Kent County Council has a net zero target of 2030 for our own estate, and we have an environment plan. It covers 6 key areas: delivering green energy, adapting to our changing climate, reducing flood risk, protecting and improving the natural and built environment, managing our resources for a circular economy, and conserving and promoting Kent's natural beauty and heritage. But it's a local authority. It's much more than just those targets and plans. It's about communities and a real place-based approach. And so some of the projects that I've been working with schools. The young people are really central to our communities and engagement. And we link with external organisations and work with those schools and education settings to really help create opportunities for them to engage in activities that can help make their communities a better place. So one of those has been where I've worked with the Department for Education funded National Education Nature Park. So we've now got 158 schools in Kent, which is about just under a quarter of schools that have signed up to this. And they've been mapping their school grounds and been able to look at what habitats they already have and see how they can improve their sites for biodiversity, but also to enjoy those sites as much as possible. And through my support, we've been able to get over £275,000 of funding into schools across Kent, investing into greener and more biodiverse school environments. And a lot of those projects have been about looking at grey spaces and turning them into green spaces, or bringing pond areas back to life, and improving grassland areas. So actually, one of the presentations from one of the schools this morning was about a Grey to Green project that they'd managed to put in place through that funding. And they had a really lovely project where they were turning their grey spaces into green. They'd spent most of their funding on plants. And then what actually happened within their project was that during last summer, there was a World War II bomb found in the roof of their school, and the school had to be closed, and all those plants died. But then they have managed to overcome that adversity once all the site was safe, and they've managed to purchase new plants, and they've come up with an irrigation system so that those plants won't suffer again. So that's just one of the projects that I've done. Another one is the e-waste warriors. So this is a project that's funded by Materials Focus and is all about empowering students to tackle electronic waste through education and repair and recycling. So electronic waste is the fastest growing waste stream in the world and in the UK. And so it's really about educating about that e-waste. There's lots of tech that's now used, but it quite quickly can become obsolete or can not function properly, and people are buying more and more different items that are needed, but it's about what we do with that waste, and quite often that can hang around in drawers and cupboards. People aren't quite sure what to do with that waste. So far we've worked in Maidstone and Dartford, across Kent, and we're starting in Tunbridge next week. And we've worked with 10 schools so far, so we've delivered assemblies to over 3,000 pupils. And we've used these team repair kits where pupils get to learn repair skills through fixing a games console. And over 1,150 students so far have been trained with those team repair kits, which has been absolutely fantastic. It's a really great kit, and lots of good fun to be able to play around fixing the games console, but also at the end it does work as a games console and can be used. And so far we've managed to recycle over 2 tons of e-waste, and then we've been holding repair cafes with our local repair cafe teams, and getting items repaired there as well. So we've been building some really good circular economy skills. into our schools and young people.
There's so much good work going on out there, and these numbers are significant. I'm in Kent, well, I'm in Medway, which is Kent really, and I know Kent is a very large county. So if you've got a quarter of the schools involved, that is very significant. And the numbers of pupils, numbers of students involved in your initiatives is really significant, because we know that a large proportion of those will go forward and start to develop their own green careers. Some of them may well turn out to be entrepreneurs that do go into the e-waste recycling industry, which is sorely needed, as you highlighted there. Look, Susie, it's very brief, but thank you very much for your contribution. I don't suppose you can give us any spoilers on who's going to win today.
Oh no, that would be giving it away. So yeah, I will update you later.
Well, if only just because of the name. My money's on Buckingham Palace. No, thank you very much. I appreciate your contribution today, and also, more importantly, your long-term now contribution to climate change and sustainability in Kent. So, thank you very much, Susie.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy the judging.
Yeah, it was
thank you.
great to join you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye for now. Okay. So rapid fire today. We are moving ourselves along. I'm just going to click my share. Oops. I managed to get that right, I think, yes. So we are going to look at a Kent-based school, which is, I always get the name wrong, so I've written it down, Dartford Science and Technology College, and the way that they are approaching sustainability. So we're going to play a quick video, and then we will talk with Joanna from the school about what they're doing. So here we go, people. Right. In case anyone was worried, there actually wasn't any sound with that. That was deliberate. I wanted the images to do the talking, so to speak. Because this really is about sustainability in action. We could see those last few images that it's real people involved. Yeah, it's not just talk, it's not just figures, it's actually real people. Now I'm really happy to invite Joanna from, I will say it right, Dartford Science and Technology College. Hello, Joanna.
Hello.
So thank you for joining. So what's going on at DSTC?
Oh, we've got so much going on at DSTC. First of all, I wanted to just briefly mention the project that Susie was talking about earlier. We're one of the Kent schools that has been involved. So we've had our science club, we've had our engineering groups doing the the fixing of the little games, and we've had the big pink bins where we've been recycling all our electrical equipment. And we got they were full up when they were collected. So huge advocate of everything that Susie's been doing for Kent County Council. And obviously it contributes to what we're doing in terms of sustainability at DSTC as well. So I thought I'd mention that as being one of the schools to talk about the impact that it's had. But yes, obviously, we've got a really strong commitment to sustainability here, not just because we're a science and technology college, but it's something that we're really passionate about. We're an all-girls school, so although it's got college in the name, we are passionate about getting girls into engineering, STEM careers, and obviously sustainability is at the forefront of that. I mean, some of the statistics show that there's going to be a shortfall in green careers moving forward, so we need to be promoting those. So that features heavily in our vision for sustainability. So we've got an action plan which has some parts related to our curriculum, but we've also got like sort of our main aims with regards to our sustainability program. So the first part of that is thinking about excellence in education. So we want to prepare all our young people for a world that's impacted by climate change through both learning and practical experience. Now, partly the way we've done that is developing our schemes of work, and we make sure that where possible, I'm in charge of a vice principal and I'm in charge of curriculum. So we've made that a feature of making sure that we've got sustainability and climate change lesson plans threaded throughout our curriculum. We're giving students practical engagement opportunities in sustainability. So that's not only the work through the Eco Project, but also we've got our Eco Warrior groups plus our engineering and science clubs. We want to make students resilient to climate change. So we've got some work that we're doing with the site team as well. So we can talk about how we can improve our site to make it more sustainable. And then lastly, we're thinking about biodiversity, which obviously links to the Eco Project that you showed the images of before.
Brilliant, yeah. Blimey, so that is ambitious, and there's nothing wrong with ambition, of course. And it's holistic as well. It's very encompassing. So I understand that the school's already received some recognition for your work. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, we applied for the Green Schools Award, and we were a close runner-up. Second to another school in Kent, huge congratulations to them. But this year we applied again, seeing how far not only our curriculum has come, but also the changes for the Eco Project. And this year we were awarded the Green Schools Award. And I think you saw the images in the video there of our awards for the Eco Project, but also we were awarded the overall winner as well. So not only being awarded a Green Schools Award, but also the overall winner for Kent. So we're incredibly proud of that. And I think it just shows the recognition for all of the hard work that we've been doing. As I said, not just in the outdoors, but also in terms of the curriculum for our students as well.
Yeah, oh, brilliant. Well done to you and your students. Okay, so you've developed a sustainability action plan. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so we thought it was really important when the government said, I think it was last year or so, they said that you need to start thinking about having a sustainability or a climate change action plan for your school. Obviously, it's something that we're really passionate about, and we've got some really key members of staff that are involved with this. We decided that, right, we were going to focus on 4 different areas. So the first area was going to be our environmental education. So again, that links to what I was saying about the curriculum earlier, making sure that our students, that's threaded throughout the curriculum. Obviously, we have the ability to study A-level environmental science, but actually through Key Stage 3, the national curriculum, there isn't a specific part on climate change. So we try and make sure that it's threaded through all of our subjects, not just the traditional geography and science as you would expect. So we did a big piece of work with our staff members to make it so that climate change and sustainability was featuring in all subjects. So in our cookery, we look at, going from farm to plate and so on. So it's about our curriculum. Like I said before, thinking about the biodiversity and the natural environment. So we've been trying to improve our green spaces. So not only have we got the Eco Project, but we've also been looking at other areas of the site that we've either left to go wild or looking at ways that we can improve the biodiversity. with buildings and construction, as I said, we've got our Eco Warrior group, but our site team are just absolutely incredible, and I have to shout out to them just for looking at the different grants that they can get in order to make us more sustainable. We've been offered some funding from Salix. We now have all of the lighting in the entire school site is low voltage, so they've done a huge amount to either get the funding in for us to be able to make our site a lot greener, but also looking at ways to get funding for the future. So we're hoping to go for some heat pump technology in the future as well. And then obviously community engagement. So that's a really big part of our school. We run a community day every year in July where our whole school site, which includes staff and students, are off times over for the day, and we go out into the local community, and community partnerships are really key. And obviously there's a huge part of that with the Eco project as well.
Blimey, that's a lot going on there. That's absolutely fantastic to hear this. Time just shifts on. So, call to action I've got written down. If you were going to give some advice for call to action to people, what should they be looking at? What might that be? How might they approach this whole, okay, I want to get engaged in sustainability and climate action?
I think it's about any action can have an impact, and that's what we teach our students. So part of our values at school is we say, look, you know, any action, however small, does have an impact, and the more people you get, the greater that impact is going to be. So start small, start somewhere. As I said, every action contributes to a larger change. You know, the students, they've got a wealth of information at their fingertips now, haven't they? You know, with the internet, with the resources. So get them to be involved, start researching. There's so many, you know, look at what Susie was saying earlier, so many local initiatives that are available, and know that there will be a place for everybody to take part in that.
Brilliant. Well, Joanna, I really do appreciate you taking the time and showcasing your projects. You know, all strength to the people up at DSTC. Thank you very much for your contribution. And I'll be in touch, as they say.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time, and sorry if I've made you overrun. I didn't mean to.
No, don't worry about it. We're fine. We're okay. I'll build that in, as they say. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye for now. Okay, people. So we're moving on. So I'm just setting up my share. So our next guest will be a gentleman from a charity called Digital. But before we do that, just going to play a quick video of what they get up to, and then we will talk to Matt.
In today's world, the intersection between digital skills and climate action has never really been more important. However, at Digital, we understand that the success to this is working with disadvantaged young people to ensure that they have the necessary digital skills, creativity, and engineering skills to enable them to be the digital innovators and, of course, the change makers of tomorrow. We believe our solution is truly innovative because it allows young people to use a microbit programmable device. This small device allows young people to code it inside and then explore outside to develop solutions for sustainable energy, for early warning systems. And through doing this, not only do young people understand the importance of being digitally active, but they also develop their health and well-being. At Digital, our impact speaks volumes. We have young people that are monitoring hedgehog populations in their local allotment. We also have young people developing early warning systems that could be used by communities in developing countries where they are monitoring for potential droughts, wildfires, or floods, and then radio transmitting that message to a remote community to warn them of any impending danger. We would be opening up hubs across Europe and globally to support young people, focusing on not just the world issues that they face with climate action, but also focusing on their local needs in their community to make a positive impact, not just for themselves, but for the world.
Brilliant. Well, one thing I can say about the activity of Digital is that it is busy. Yeah, there is so much movement. It's great. Welcome, Matt. Matt Hewlett. Matt, you introduce yourself. Who are you? What are you doing?
Hi there. Thanks for having me, Mike. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk to all you guys. So yeah, my name's Matt Hewlett. I'm the Community and Education Lead for Digital. My background is I'm a computing teacher, and along with Pete, who you saw in the video, also has a background as a computing teacher. We run Digital, which is a charity who look to kind of empower young people in particular, but train teachers as well, so that computing, technology, STEM in general is a more well, as inclusive as we can possibly make it, as empowering as we can possibly make it, and try and develop young people who realise, from whatever background they have, that the sort of a career in technology or STEM or the digital world is one that's open to them. There's loads of great charities and organisations do that sort of work, and it's something that we are passionate about as well. And I suppose the kind of final aspect of that, the final piece of the puzzle there, is that everything we do, everything we try and show to young people is that what we do in a digital space, whether it's part of the curriculum or enrichment activities, has got to be creative and purposeful and have some sort of context that's meaningful, and hopefully be something that can help better people's lives. And that resolves itself on a regular basis with regards to sort of climate and sustainability. So we try and work in that space as much as we possibly can.
Great. So now, lots of people are concerned about the climate. Of course they are. But not everybody immediately connects it with technology for young people. So why do you think that that's such a vital tool?
Well, it seems self-evident to me. So there we go. But maybe that's why I do what I do, and why we do what we do. But the first principles for me is that engagement with nature and the world around us, whether or not there is any technology to hand, is so vital to our well-being, just at a personal or community level, but as of course as well thinking about the well-being of the world around us, and that we understand that relationship with nature is absolutely fundamental. And the more we can do that with regards to technology or otherwise, is the more we can do that, the better. But with regards to technology in particular, of course, it just empowers us to make the most of any impact we can have on the world around us, right? It helps us understand the world a little bit better. So we've got a really meaningful connection with the world around us naturally through ourselves. We can then bring in technology to understand it at a more scientific level, to think about how we can sense the world around us, see what's going on with regards to climate change or movement of glaciers, or forest fires, for example. Anything to do with nature, we can use technology to help us understand it, and then take adapting or mitigation actions. And that kind of link is a really vital one for us to make for young people, or help young people make.
Sure. Now, I know that you use microbit, in the classroom and outside in the environment. Could you give us an example, specific example of how microbits are being used?
I can give you loads of examples, Mike, so I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. I mean, we use them, we don't exclusively use microbits, but I've just talked about the role of sensing the world around us and be able to interpret the world around us. And microbits are great physical computing devices that have set like a whole suite of sensors on them, including temperature sensors, accelerometers. They have the ability to connect via radio, and so much more. And so we quite often find ourselves running projects that allow us to use microbits to sense the world around and then take action. So a couple of examples are our kind of flagship resource, which is called Coding for Climate Action, which is available for years 4, 5, 6, 7, and soon year 8 as well. So different units of work, but all focusing on computing and climate change and understanding how we can have a career in that space. So, for example, year 5 unit of work looks to make a variety of early warning systems that can detect potential or current or climate disasters, and then provide a warning and therefore help save lives to it. The year 6 unit of work looks to think about how we can make adaptation technology, again using microbits to sense the world around us. A more The other one I'd say is we've got a very exciting project going on in your neck of the woods, Mike, using microbits, which you know probably better than me, but using microbits as an environment sensor, so actually using peripheral device with the microbit to go out and sense air quality, humidity, things like that, and then empower students to understand what changes they can make in their local area or in their personal lives based on having used those devices. I could go on, but I'm conscious of time.
Okay, no, that's brilliant. That gives us an insight, you know, and you know, I'm going to sell your site. If people want to find out more, go to the digital site. There's lots of advice, and again, it's free. Yeah, there's lots of free resources. It's people giving their time there. So, time, isn't it? So we're working at the intersection of technology here. You know, some might say cutting edge, even. You never know. With young people and climate change. There are hurdles. Could if someone was thinking, okay, I want to incorporate technology and climate change and young people in my school, in my classroom, what are one or two pieces of advice you would give them so that they know what the hurdles might be and they know how to get over those hurdles?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, first of all, there's actually having access to kit. So, I'll do a quick sell that we actually run a grants program called Meet and Code, or EU Meet and Code grants program. So, if you don't have access to kit and you're in the UK, then there's a £1,200 grant you can claim from us to buy kit that you can use to engage young people with. So, first of all, it might be that technology is a bit of a barrier. Secondly, it might be the teacher or the sort of adult advocate has got an uncertainty about how to use the technology, which is of course totally normal. Again, shameless plug, but we run training free and everything we have is free, like Mike said. So free training sessions on our website, CPD on how to use things like microbits or crumbles, or how to be a creative computing teacher, trying to just develop teachers and adults understanding of the world around them, and with technology in particular. And I suppose the third thing is really it's as or most powerful, I suppose, in parts of the world where nature is, or the environment and nature is not so kind of prevalent. It's very easy for me. I live in rural Devon. I can look out my window and I can see Dartmoor, right? So it's very easy for me and the kids in my town to be like, oh, isn't nature amazing? Okay, but maybe not so simple if you are in a city and things like that. So that's maybe really where the work has got to be done. Where bringing in some resources, ours or otherwise, taking inspiration from people like Joanna, who I mean, blown away by what she's doing in her school, and very envious of the size of her beetroot, having seen that slideshow. I've got some work to do in the garden this afternoon, clearly, but bringing whatever sort of methods you can to try and enliven and engage young people with the world around them, and the importance of connection with nature is probably the most important thing, in my humble opinion.
Matt, thank you very much again. Clap to Matt. People, please, they're doing really valuable work over there at Digital. Do have a look at their site. Do contribute your time. If you've got a skill that you can contribute, get in touch. Let them know. Matt, good luck. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, everybody.
Great. Okay, so we are nearing the end. I'm just trying to queue up my screen here. Going to cover just a couple of pieces, couple of positive things, and hopefully share some information which may be of use to you. Just a quick inspirational video, I suppose. So, if I click play.
These are pretty much like the core of like an ecosystem. They help with the plants, which help with the animals. If these do go extinct, most of the world will start running out of certain food supplies. My hope for the planet is that we can fix the damage that we've done when in space. Our nature reserve project is really good at helping with climate change. We have the tree planting, which helps with photosynthesis and removing carbon dioxide from our atmosphere. We've got the whole bee project, which is repopulating this area for bees. Saving bees means saving our planet. The plan with the honey and wax is to make products of it, so we can sell it, so we can get revenue for the nature reserve. It's important that we teach the younger generation about the environment so they have a head start. If we didn't have bees, we would have to manually spread plants and seeds around the world in different places.
Okay, so in that quite short video, that was taken from the school that James was at, of course, and one of his colleagues there, one of his fellow pupils. And this starts to bring together the idea that you can get a big, broad age range working. You can see that some very young pupils from primary schools there through to James, who was in sixth form then, he's just recently left. So there are sources of help out there. I'm going to whip through this now. I will make this available, so if you want it, please do say, get in touch one way or another. I'm just going to share some ideas of sources of help that may be available to you, that may actually be of use to you. So let's be that changed. Why focus on climate change? We know there's urgency, and young people are powerful. Of course they are. Schools are catalysts. Yeah, that's where we spend our formative time. I'm a teacher. I've taught 30 years, so I sort of know what I'm talking about there. And of course, climate action unlocks so many opportunities. So competitions and sources of help. This is what this is about. So we've got the Earth Prize. It's as it says there, it's a sustainability competition for students aged 13 to 19, so quite a large age range. You know, if you're in England, that takes you through from year 8 to year 13, and it's designed to inspire and empower them to create solutions for environmental challenges. It's a prize. Yeah, you know, funding, when it comes down to it, is important because it allows us to get the kit and get the time and the expertise to do it. The SIAD Climate Change Challenge, people, you have got less than a month to sign up for that. If you are a teacher that is doing something innovative, something that makes a difference in the classroom with climate change, get your entry in. Likewise, if you have groups of students that are doing things that are innovative, that make a difference, aged 18 to 15, get them to put their entry in as well, please. The Desired Sustainability Prize, as I've already mentioned, that quick short video that we saw. I was with James and the other student over in COP28 when they won that prize. What a moment that was. Enter these things. The Young Champions of the Earth, it's a UN initiative. Go for that. It recognizes ambitious young individuals. It's about support. Let's think about climate action grants. We've got the Royal Society Partnership grants in England. It's up to £3,000 for UK schools. Got a good idea? Put it to them. You never know. You could be lucky. And it will also put you in touch with STEM ambassadors. So if you're can't get my words out. If you are bringing climate and technology and education together, go for this. Let's Go Zero. Go to their site. There's lots of help out there, and they're, you know, sort of, it's in the name. Let's Go Zero. Their mission statement is about getting schools to reach as close to zero carbon as they can. The Youth Climate Challenge Changemakers Fund. I can't get my words out. EU from 1,000 to 100,000 euros. And the training that goes with it. Lots of these initiatives don't just give you the money, they also give you the support. Go for that. Roots and Roots Fund UK, you see what they did there? Roots and Roots, yeah, up to £20,000 for youth-led climate justice projects, prioritising marginalised communities. Yeah, really important stuff. And there are general environmental grants. You know, do some searching. Sometimes it takes digging, but see what is out there, what support. Programs and essential resources are moving away not just from funding, but Council of Europe recommendations. Go in there, and if you have these slides, I'll put links into them. I'm not going to go to links because we haven't got the time, of course. But this endorses investment in green jobs, education, youth worker development to strengthen climate engagement. So something that might be of use for you. The Clementines Project, I'd love a good pun. Again, an EU-funded initiative with training tools and building youth-led environmental networks. Yeah, building that at a young age. Trees, excuse me, a hobby horse of mine. Tree Council. They offer grants and resources for trees, youth clubs, schools, and so on. Most secondary schools in England, in the UK, and across the world sometimes have got large real estates, large areas of ground that actually don't do anything. Plant them with trees. It's going to help everyone. Branching Out Fund, 250 to £2,500 to support young people's planting activities, again with expert guidance. You notice this is a running theme. Woodland Trust, all sorts of programs that they run. Get in there, see what they're up to. More green shoots, practical planting support in the UK. Conservation volunteers offer free tree packs. I've been at this too long now. Tree appeal. Then go in there. They're looking for corporate sponsors. Carbon footprint, offer free trees. Oh dear me. And PTES orchard grants. Orchards, really important. Let's get some fruit trees planted. Harvest the fruit, share it around in your local food banks. So, what else have we got? Well, we got some broader sort of expanding horizons things. Again, Ernest Cook Trust, outdoor learning initiatives, including, important here, remember the sea, Blue Influences Youth Scheme for Coastal Areas, Wild Ideas Officer, Director of Trust, the Country Trust connects students to food systems. Hark back to what Joanna was saying from TSTC. Yeah, food systems, farming, nature, free, low-cost programs. Okay. Education Nature Park, which was brought up earlier, if you missed it, really important. It's developing initiative. It's supporting to take the real estates of schools and turn them into nature-rich spaces. What could be better? Its main goal is boost biodiversity, lots of resources, and they form a strategic role. Europe and wider, Foundation for Environmental Education, FEE, I like a good pun, operates eco schools, LEAF and YRE leading sustainable education programs. One Tree Planted, partners with schools and communities plant trees globally for reforestation. The FSC promotes responsible forestry, and Euro Park junior ranges 12 to 18, so a good age range there, 12 to 18 years old in a remote action near European protected areas. Yeah, blimey. So what should you do? Well, check eligibility, of course. Mind the deadlines. Yeah, some of them come in quite tight, so make sure that you've got all your eggs in not in one basket. Everything lined up. There you go. Align your project. Do your projects align with the goals and criteria of the competitions, the support, the resources, the grants. Build partnerships. Talk to people. Talk to your STEM experts. Talk to your universities, and so on. Talk to the Royal Society. They have lots of experts. Think about legacies. It's not just about now. It's about now, and it's about tomorrow, and it's about the week after, and it's about the year after that. What long-term benefits of your sustainability initiatives got, and what's your local council doing? We had Susie Hammond earlier talking. She works for the local council in Kent. Lots of support, lots of help, lots of signposting to resources and funding, of course. So I want to thank you. Yeah, let's create a greener future together. Engage and act. Yeah, all of us should be acting. We can't stand back from this. Keep exploring, spread the word. I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to share one last video from this is from the winners of the Zayed Sustainability Prize 2025 rather, sorry, who are from Tashkent. So I'm just going to share that so that we can. Oh, it seems to have disappeared. Nope, there it is.
We are the ambassadors of the Sustainability Prize. We all want to develop the world by doing small or big changes. Uzbekistan is going to face a significant water shortage by 2035. Our project is going to solve the issue of drinkable water scarcity in Tashkent. We gained a remarkable experience in the Sustainability Prize. It was one of the best moments of our life. We also met with a lot of people who are passionate about sustainability. After we won the prize, we understood that this will help us to continue the legacy of Sheikh Zayed. If you are passionate about your project, if you are passionate about sustainability, then you can find many, many opportunities here.
Well, there we go. Yeah. So clean water, climate, almost on time. So thank you very much for everyone that's contributed. Thank you for those of you that have viewed, and those of you that have viewed on video later. Thank you as well. My final part. We need human change, not climate change. And all of us really do need to be that change. So take care of yourself, take care of the climate, take care of each other. Thank you very much. Bye for now.